Welcome in Coach Yeager postgame presented by Dr. John Young, sports medicine and orthopedics coach. Scoreboard up here, if people can faintly read that, it reads 44-7, 1-0. And what did you think about such a dominating first win tonight?
Well, it's probably one of the cleanest first games that we've played in a long, long time around here. You know, everybody says that you improve more from your first game to your second game than any time in the year, and I hope that's going to happen. But usually your game, you know, you have some things where it's not real clean, but it was clean. And I tell you, one of the things that just impressed me the most as we started pulling away, you know, a lot of times guys get disengaged a little bit. You have, you know, coaches, whatever. Your coaches don't finish coaching. Your players don't finish playing like they should. And it ebbs and flows according to whatever the situation is. But our coaches coached to the very end. But then the thing I loved was when we went to put our reserves in the game, our seniors, instead of going back and just, you know, not being engaged in the game, they were there coaching those backups, which, you know, I mean, you sit there and put in a night's work, and then you start investing in your teammates. I thought that impressed me more than anything.
That was very impressive. Let's talk about both sides of the ball. We'll start on offense. 350 yards, 222 of those on the ground. That's courtesy of your former quarterback Charles Branch, who was up in the booth keeping stats. And he did a great job for us. Mark Rector was on the broadcast tonight. It's another one of your former guys. Yeah. But offensively, it was a showdown, right? I mean, balls flying through the air, hard, aggressive running, even some big hits from Demopolis. But what did you learn about your offense this week?
Well, the big thing, you know, we needed to find out. You know, we had some linemen that are coming back, but we needed to find out, you know, with the two tight ends, with Wallace Hunter and Bennett Jordan, you know, in there with Rocco Gray and Henry Jimenez and Pearson Avery, Rob Shanevogel and Tab Williams. We need to find out, William Tabbitt, we needed to find out if those guys could gel together. You know what I mean? And so anyway, I felt pretty good about that. You know, the other thing we need to find out too is in the course of a game, they're going to do something to stop you. There's going to be a counterpunch. You know, and how well do you handle the counterpunch? Number one, emotionally. You know, do you keep your composure? Do you have poise? And then the other thing, can you strategically come up with your counterattack, which I felt like the coaches and the players did a good job of that tonight.
And we can't talk about the offense without talking about Sam Smith. Everything he touched literally turned to gold. This gold end zone right in front of us, I mean, he found it just about every time. Talk about how he was able to have so much success.
Yeah, he did. You know, and the thing that people miss about him and all of our receivers, I think we've got the best blockers play at our receivers. All of those guys, Trey Vinson, John Colvin, Archie Andrews, and Sam's probably the best blocker. And the thing that Sam can do, you know, he's our Z receiver, and Sam can block inside, he can block outside, he can block on the flanks, and then he can do what he does with the football speaks for itself. You know, everybody gets to see that, but he's a complete football player.
Getting the ball, getting to the end zone, using his speed. Defensively, guys flying all over the place. Boyd Cooper, Miller Lee, you know, moving from that middle backer to that rover position. What did you see out of your defense? Because up until late, and that first team pitched a shutout, and you know, it was tight down there on some late third and fourth downs. But what was most impressive to you?
Well, the thing that the defense usually has to do is there's usually an adjustment to the speed of the game, and we knew the running back. You know, he's a good running back, fast running back, and so we sort of went into the game thinking, okay, there's going to be this period of time where we need to adjust to the speed of the game, but that happened pretty quick, you know, and that happened. You know, usually when you have 11 guys getting to the ball, that always helps that process speed up a little bit. But anyway, the big thing that I was impressed with was the gang tackling. You know, that so many people, you know, getting to the ball, and you know, there wasn't a lot of solo tackles tonight, which to me that makes me real happy.
One of my favorite play calls going back through, and we have people texting us through the game. Wayne will join us next week at Parker, but he was watching from the mountains this week. There was one of the early gang tackles, and I said Cherokee Bend and Crestline and Mountain Brook Elementary and Brookwood Forest made the tackle on that. Awesome. It felt like the stands were out there on the field, so that really was truly, I think, one of the most impressive pieces as well. Last question for you here as we, you know, move towards getting ready for next week. But what's one thing, obviously you hadn't seen any tape, but what's one immediate takeaway where you're like, we need to tweak this, we need to be better in this area? What's going to be one of your focuses in the headed into week 2?
Well, I'll know a little bit more when I say the thing, but I think one of the things, you know, like a lot of our adjustments, we try to make them in real time. You know, people say they make adjustments at halftime or they make them in between the series and stuff. And we try to train our players with principles within a system to be able to make the adjustments in real time and self-correct and help each other self-correct. I think they did a good job of that. I think we've just got to improve the speed of that, a little bit. And then that's the biggest thing, because, that's something that is just that part of the game you really don't see, but it does result in really a lot of productivity. So that's the biggest thing I'm seeing on offense. In defense, man, those guys just played the complete game. Suffocating, pursuit and incredible tackling. Didn't have a lot of missed tackles, especially for the first game. So I felt good about that. The big thing you got to do too is, when you have a game like this, the big thing is you can't be satisfied with where you are. You got to go and you got to microscopically look at the game and find the smallest details to improve on. And that takes a lot of humility, a lot of maturity to do that.
Absolutely, and your guys will do it. That's
so.
For sure. Our last little teaser here. Our question tonight, our Trips trivia question. My dad gives us a trivia each week on the broadcast. Was where did Chris Yeager go to high school? We talked a lot about in the pregame and everything, being your 20th year as head coach, and so we got to give a shout out to the Fairview Aggies. Our good friend Hot Dog Tony Morton is here tonight and got to watch the Spartans. There's a YouTube video on him down on back end, so keep scrolling through on our channel on YouTube. But great to have him here tonight as well.
Yeah, sure was. And he was there seeing the players. He'd just come from a treatment, and so he was bound and determined. He told me back in the spring, I'm going to be at your first game, and so he's been through a lot of medical treatments and stuff like that. He's come a long way, still fighting a good fight. But anyway, it was good. It was good for our players to see, that fighting spirit.
Absolutely, fighting spirit, start to finish. And Mountain Brook is victorious tonight, 44-7 over Demopolis. Next week we're at Parker. We hope you'll join us either in person at A.H. Parker High School or on our broadcast. Pregame will start at 6:30, kickoff at 7. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for watching Mountain Brook football, Coach. Good to be with you.
Thank you, William. Appreciate it.